Assalamualaikum, my social media friends. My name is Siksa Marketing Wali and I am a student of Rahan School. Today I will be interviewing Maya.
Hey, Aksa, what's been on your mind since we last spoke?
Hi Maya. Today I am going to ask you some questions. Will you answer them?
Sounds good. Fire away. I'm all ears.
Okay, so today's topic is word the backbone of early civilization. Why do historians call word the backbone of early civilizations?
That's a big question. Historians lean on that idea because, well, before writing, word of mouth was literally how everything was kept alive. Laws, history, stories, skill. It was the OG database. It shaped how societies functioned, how knowledge was passed down, and how people understood the world. Makes sense it'd be considered foundational, right?
Okay, so my next question is in what ways was word essential for the survival of ancient communities?
Absolutely. Think about it. Coordinating hunts, remembering where water sources are, passing on medicinal knowledge, all of that relied on accurate and reliable communication. A misspoken detail could be the difference between thriving and not. It wasn't just about stories, it was about survival.
Okay, so my
You
next
seem to
question
be thinking.
is how did word influence the development of tools and weapons in early society?
That's a good jump. Word of mouth was key to sharing innovations. Someone figures out a better way to nap flint, they tell everyone. That knowledge spreads, gets refined, and suddenly you've got more effective tools and weapons. It was a rapid transfer of tech in a way. And it wasn't just the how to, it was also about where to find the best materials. There's a deposit of obsidian up north near the river bend. That kind of info was gold. It shaped trade routes and even conflict, knowing where resources were.
Okay, so my next question
Does
is
that line of thinking?
yes, my next question is what role did wood play in the construction of houses and shelters in ancient times?
Hmm. Word for word play? You mean how instructions and knowledge about building were passed down verbally? Gotcha. It's interesting to think about it like that. It wasn't just technical details, but likely storytelling and even songs to help remember the steps, especially for complex structures.
So
Imagine.
my next question is can we say that the invention of the wheel was possible because of word by or by not?
Ooh, that's a clever one. I'd say absolutely the wheel likely wouldn't have happened without it. Someone had to observe rolling logs, then conceptualize how that could be applied to transport, and then crucially, communicate that idea to others and teach them how to build one. It's not just the invention, it's the dissemination of that invention. It
Okay,
wasn't enough for one person to have the idea, it needed to be shared and built upon. It's a collaborative process fueled by communication, don't you think? All right.
so my next question is how did word contribute to early transportation such as boats and cars?
Okay. So, work, assuming you mean the spoken word, played a huge role in developing those systems. For boats, it was about sharing knowledge of currents, weather patterns, navigation techniques, all passed down through generations of sailors. And even before cars, coordinating large scale construction projects like roads needed clear communication.
Okay, so my next question is
It's
what was the importance of wood in cooking and hell heating for early humans?
not just about food just a bit ago, actually. Fascinating, isn't it? For early humans, food wasn't just sustenance. Knowing what was edible and what wasn't was life or death, and that knowledge was passed down orally. Recipes, preservation techniques, medicinal uses of plants, it was all vital information shared through word of mouth and tied into health, healing, and obviously survival.
Okay, so my next question is did the use of wood influence cultural or religious practices in ancient civilizations?
Definitely. Storytelling, myths, religious rituals, they all rely on oral tradition. Before written texts, these practices were kept alive through spoken word. It's how values were instilled, how communities were bound together, and how people made sense of the world around them. Rituals themselves often involve specific incantations or prayers that had to be recited perfectly.
So my next question is how did the demand for both shape trade between different religions?
That's a really layered question. When it comes to raising children across different religions, it often boils down to communication and mutual respect. Each parent usually wants to share their own beliefs and traditions with their child, and finding a way to do that authentically without dismissing the other parent's faith is key. It's about creating a space where the child can explore both perspectives and form their own understanding. It's also about finding common ground.
Okay, so my next question is can deforestation in ancient times be compared to the environmental issues we face today?
That's a really insightful connection. Absolutely. Deforestation wasn't a new problem. Ancient civilizations often cleared forests for agriculture, building materials, and fuel. The consequences were similar: soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, climate shifts. It just happened on a smaller scale then. What's different today is the speed and scope of the destruction, but the underlying issues are remarkably similar.
Okay, so my next question is what types of trees were most valuable in early civilization and why?
That depends a lot on the region, but generally, trees that provided durable wood for building, like oak, cedar, and cypress, were highly valued. Fruit and nut trees were also crucial for food security, and certain trees had religious or symbolic significance too. Like the olive tree in the Mediterranean, for example, it provided oil, food, and was a symbol of peace and prosperity.
So my next question is how did woodworking skills pass from generation to generation in ancient societies?
You're looping back to the core idea, which I like. It was mostly through apprenticeships, young people learning directly from skilled artisans, observing, imitating, and gradually, eventually mastering the craft. Storytelling also played a role. Sometimes skills were embedded in narratives or songs to make them easier to remember. It was a really hands on, immersive kind of education, not like textbooks or classrooms.
Okay, so my next question is in what ways did wood help humans transition from a nomadic life to a settled life?
That's a really interesting angle. Or, okay. Well, I'm here to answer your questions, no matter how you choose to ask them. What's the next one? All right. What's on your mind?
Okay, so my next question is how does wood role in early civilization compare to materials like stone or metal?
That's a really good comparison to make. Stone and metal were obviously essential for tools and structures. They were the physical building blocks. But word, the ability to communicate, was the blueprint. You could have all the stone in the world, but without someone to organize the building process, share knowledge, and coordinate efforts, it would just be a pile of rocks. It was a different kind of essential.
Okay, so my last question is, do you think word still remains as important today as was in early history? Why or why not?
That's a great way to wrap things up. Absolutely. I do think it remains incredibly important, though the form has changed. We have so many ways to communicate now: text, email, social media. But the core human need to connect, share information, and build understanding through language hasn't gone away. It might even be more important, honestly, in a world that feels increasingly fragmented. The challenge is to make sure that word is used thoughtfully and responsibly.
Okay, thank you so much, Maya, for answering my questions. I'll ask you more next time. Thanks a lot, Maya.
Oh, all right. Well, it was good chatting with you about all of this. I always enjoy these conversations. Have a good one. And yeah, I'll be here when you're ready for more.
Bye bye.
Is there anything else I can help you with right now?
So next time I'll come with even more unique questions for Maya. Thank you so much, friends, for watching my interview, and bye bye.